Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a really special day. A day that I feel like we've been headed towards for months, ever since we first realized that if we wanted to keep the music alive, we were going to have to sort of reinvent ourselves and really come together and overcome a lot of obstacles. And by golly, we did. And here, finally, we have the fruits of our labors today, and we're just so glad that you've come to join us to be a part of all of this, and to join me for this little pre-concert talk, just like we would normally have. We'll go probably from about 2 to 2:30, just like we normally would, and then you can take a little break and do whatever you need to do and relax, and then we'll all come back together, probably just a little bit before 3 o'clock, for the streaming of this wonderful performance that we have recorded. So really, really just excited to finally be able to put something new together, not just a recorded old performance, but really something that we've created to be enjoyed in your homes. And it really has taken so much effort to put this all together. So I'd like to start off with a whole bunch of thank yous. First of all, our the pre-concert talks always have wonderful sponsors, and a huge thank you to Jamie Haswell and Richard Grundy, my good friends who have been sponsoring my pre-concert talks, I think ever since I started here with the Symphony. So thank you very much for sponsoring this talk. And then just a huge thank you to everyone that has come together to put this to just make this all happen. There is this past week, it's impossible for me to kind of walk you through everything that happened in this past week. But as I think is it like less than 2 weeks ago? It was almost exactly 2 weeks ago that the glass fire started, and so many people, including my parents, had to evacuate, and it was just devastating to see everyone displaced yet again. And we were, for the time being, we weren't, there was just, everyone was just trying to be safe. But then of course we had, 6 days later, we were supposed to have our very first rehearsal at the Green Music Center, and we'd been setting it up for so long, and so much had gone into this. So that was, that was one of the things we started thinking about: is this even going to be able to happen? And it was apparent by Friday that the fires themselves were not putting Sonoma State in any danger, but then it was a question of air quality. And this is where it really becomes special, because we're dealing with the double challenges of a pandemic and the wildfires. And one of the problems is normally in a concert hall, you can just turn your HVAC system to recycle air inside the hall. So if the air quality is really bad outside, that won't technically stop us from being able to rehearse in the hall. In this case, though, because of all the health protocols we have in place, we want to be circulating outside air into the hall. In fact, a lot of outside air into the hall. And that's where things started getting complicated, because there, in fact, was a threshold where if the air quality was too bad, we wouldn't be able to bring in enough air to satisfy what we believed were what we believed was the safest way to run the HVAC system. So at any rate, so Friday we woke up, and it was pretty apparent right away that it wasn't going to be possible, just on an air quality level. And so all the calls went out, people rearranged things, and there was an amazing decision to just postpone one day, because we knew we were on the deadline to have this performance streamed today. We couldn't just wait. And so we thought, okay, we'll do Saturday and Sunday. So we all woke up on Saturday, it looked good, and then again, like 3 hours before rehearsal, the air quality tanked, and we had to call off Saturday. And I can't believe it, but yet again, we went out to everyone and we said, okay, can we do Sunday and Monday? And that's in the end what happened, to get all these rehearsals and the recording done in those 2 days. And it's hard for me to really express just how amazing it is that we were able to work on this kind of 24-hour time frame. I mean, orchestras work in 2-year time frames, and even under the craziest of circumstances, usually we work within 60 or 30 day kind of windows of time when we're allowed to, reschedule, because, people are building their lives around these things. And so when we were moving these rehearsals, that means that every single musician was having to move their own life within 24 hours if they could still make these rehearsals. And anyone that had to be replaced, those were new musicians who were finding out in 24 hours that they were going to have to learn new music and join us for a performance. So it really took an incredible amount of flexibility and understanding on our musician side. And for any of them watching, I hope you know how much I appreciate just the incredible sacrifice and effort that went into making this all happen. And it was the same thing for our crew, our staff and crew at the Green Music Center. They showed up on Friday and Saturday, had the whole hall set up, ready to go. And they did that twice in a row before we even never got in there. And so, thank you to the Green Music Center for making that happen. And of course, our staff that really went the extra mile. So big team effort, but really excited to show you the fruits of how this all worked. So I figured I'd kind of start there to give you a little rundown on the logistics of how this was all put together. And then we'll talk a little bit about the music as well that you'll be hearing today. So first off, you're probably a little curious safety-wise what we had to deal with. I won't go into too much detail. Obviously, I was not a part of creating the safety guidelines. I was just I was just a part of that much, much bigger process. But we essentially had very detailed, 3-page protocol that had to be approved on pretty much every level, both, Sonoma State wise and then, county health officials wise. There were a lot of processes to go through with this. And so we had to craft a plan that was very specific and very detailed and based on the knowledge that we have right now, which unfortunately seems to continue to shift. So safety-wise, the main thing is distance, right? And that's probably the biggest challenge, even on an artistic end, is we know we need to keep a lot of extra distance between our musicians. And so for the strings, that meant 6 feet. For the winds and brass, more than that. So you're really trying to space out your orchestra. So of course you're going to have a smaller orchestra, and that smaller orchestra was 32 musicians. That was the max that we can have on stage in that kind of socially distanced configuration. Is just 32 players, and one of the things we really wanted to do was use more than 32 players, was try to use as many as we can, at least from our larger orchestra. And so we came up with a plan to rotate, and that's what you're going to see today. You're going to get to know our brass section, our percussion section, our woodwind section, and our string section in separate configurations. And actually, none of those pieces will use all 32 musicians. And then it's not until we get to the Beethoven Symphony where we kind of hit that max of 32 players. But all in all, you'll see just under 50 musicians rotating through today. Now, that would be easy. I mean, in some ways, that would be okay if we were just doing it on stage. But as a matter of fact, part of our guidelines is we couldn't have 32 musicians like in the general vicinity. And so it was actually, even rehearsals themselves were a process of rotating people in and out of the building. Temperature checks at the door, health questionnaires. I mean, there's a whole series of things that each one of us went through to make this possible. But once you get on stage, the distance is where it really starts playing with you, because when you're working at a really high level, like 1 foot would make a difference. I mean, that's one of the things that under the most normal of circumstances, we struggle with, right? Where musicians are always like, if I could sit here just a little bit, I could see better, I could hear better. We're always fiddling with, inches on the stage. And suddenly it's like, well, 6 feet or more between everybody. And that's just what you do. So it took a lot of getting used to, and especially also when you have a smaller orchestra. We're going to have a post-concert Q&A with some of our musicians, and that's definitely one of the things I'll be wanting to hear from them is, what was that experience? What are the challenges of playing when you're so distant from each other? And what does it sound like when no one's really next to you? I'd be very curious to kind of hear their reactions to all of that, because it really was a process for all of us, and it'll get easier from here. But that first rehearsal was really just, it didn't sound like an orchestra for a little while as we were trying to figure it out. But ultimately, it just shows just how I guess how much work we put into what we do. That musicians are such perfectionists, and we're used to dealing with so many challenges that over time that distance became less of an issue, and we really started going into more detailed work, far more detailed work than I really expected to. I wasn't sure if we were going to have to spend all of our time just talking about ensemble and how do we play together. But we started really getting into some detailed work about dynamics and phrasing and articulations, and it was nice to actually feel like we were having a normal rehearsal after a while. So that felt really good. But certainly just a lot of logistical challenges to navigate throughout. And that's just talking about the musicians on stage. Of course, what was really new for us was having a film director and a whole film crew. We had 5 cameras, all of which could be operated and moved around. We had 3 camera operators working across those 5 cameras. We had Alex Kahn, who's the conductor at Sonoma State, was helping me, was calling out shots in the score because he would know moments that were coming up where we wanted to catch solos. It was a whole process. And what was really new for me was knowing that the audio recording itself was going to be vital. Like the quality, what it was going to capture, the character of that audio would be so important. And so this was very different for me because in every break that we took, in every moment, they actually had like a little listening station where I could hang out with our recording engineer, Mark Lemaire, and the two of us spent a long time together just fine-tuning where mics were, where they were placed, what the blend of those mics would be. It was amazing. I mean, it was amazing to really get into the weeds on that, but certainly kind of that kind of extra level of effort. So before we kind of leave the logistics, I actually shot a little backstage tour right before the dress rehearsal. And I thought, as a sort of a thank you for you all joining me, I'd give you a little inside look into how things looked backstage at the Green Music Center and how we had things set up ahead of the performance you're about to see today. So please enjoy. Well, hello everyone. It's recording day. We got our dress rehearsal and our recorded performance today, so still a lot of work ahead of us, but it is just an incredible experience to be making music again under really any circumstances. Anyways, thought I would give you a little bit of a tour of everything that's going on back here. It's a little different than normal, but at the same time, it's like coming home again. I just absolutely love the Green Music Center. They take such good care of us and always feel like a superstar being here. So I'm going to flip the camera around and show you around a little bit. So we are, this is here in my dressing room. It's like the best dressing room I think I've ever been in. And I've been in some really nice ones, but I got my lovely grand piano. This is kind of like my conference room area. I can have people in. You can see we've had some pretty big stars. You might recognize a few of those folks in here. Anyways, then I'll walk you over to where I can get dressed and get ready for everything that we have ahead of us. My clothes, my sanitizer, all my scores. And let's head out to the hallway and see what's going on. It's pretty quiet right now. We're still a little ways away. But this is our backstage hallway. As you can see, lots of intimidating pictures of very famous people for me to look at every time I walk out here. And yeah, things are pretty empty here right now. Anyways, this is my walk that I take to get on stage. And yeah, this is normally full of musicians, but of course we've got everyone spaced apart in all various parts of the building to keep that distance. And heading down to this back area. This is normally my final walk to get on stage. Got a couple musicians, our general manager. This is not the walk I take. I usually keep on going, but here, this will get you a view of the stage from back here. No one's out here yet. We just got some good. You can see everyone's spaced apart over here, but you can see up there is where we're putting our brass players for this incredible piece by Gabrielli. We're gonna have brass players all in the balcony like that. So this is from the back. All right, let's keep on moving here. So if I head back, here you can see some posters, some of the great things that have been here. Alright, so we take this corner. Normally I never go this direction, but very important this week. It looks like it's closed up right now. I got a little listening room right over here. Oh, that looks like it's locked right now. But anyways, normally I got a little spot in there where I can take a listen to how our recordings are coming along, but otherwise, hi Mark, got our audio engineer. Oh, I'm just giving a little tour of everything that's going on here. So we got all the most important stuff here, all the audio recordings that are making us sound good. Everything's happening back here. And then basically I'm on the other side of that fence. That's where I can listen in. So just a little abnormal because normally during breaks I'm recuperating and studying for the next part of rehearsal, but instead in this case I'm there huddled around a recording station trying to listen to everything that we just did. Here's the other side of the backstage. But then let's go check out where some of the magic's happening. Actually, we got an entire part of the building that I don't normally spend any time in at all, and because up here is where we have all the video equipment. So as you can see, we got arrows for our brass players, making sure we're keeping traffic clear back here. But the amazing stuff, the magic is happening back here. We got a listening station for my colleague Alex Kahn. He's the conductor here at Sonoma State, and he's kind of helping making sure we're getting good shots of everything that's going on. So you can see we're playing with quite a professional, well, very professional setup here with all the camera angles and everything they're going to be calling and moving around. So Alex is sitting here reading scores. And then we can take a walk back here, and this is really the control room hub for everything that's going on here. So you can see got a lot of people working on various things here. A couple camera operators. Our director sits here. It's just amazing, honestly. I've never been a part of a production this big, but it's incredible to see the work they're doing. And I'm just trusting it to happen because we're busy enough on stage. So yeah, I guess see if I can get a nice cool angle from up here before I let you guys go. Let's see if I can get a nice shot from up here. There we go. So gives you another view. Great music center here, Weil Hall, and just this amazing setup for the brass piece. I'm really excited about this. It really sounds incredible. So there you go. Well, anyways, it gives you a little look at things. I'm gonna head back downstairs to my dressing room and get ready for this dress rehearsal. But man, what a time! But really, just feeling so grateful that I have just the best team in the world. I have such incredible musicians. They've been so flexible, working with us through all of this. We're not even talking about the 2 days of rehearsals that got delayed and everything we've been through. So it's been a lot, but everyone has just been incredible making this happen. And we're excited to show it to all of you. So thanks so much, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you soon from stage. So I hope you enjoyed getting a little backstage view of everything that was going on. That was on Monday when we were recording this. So let's get into some of that music. You probably noticed we have already a little bit of an unusual setup when I was giving you the walk around. You could see we had our brass players stationed up in the balconies. And what I really wanted to do in this first program was introduce you to us, introduce you to our musicians. I mean, the silver lining in having to perform this way is we get to really bring you in close with our musicians. And that's why you're going to hear our musicians introducing the pieces on today's program. And you're going to get to see them up close. And in future programs, you'll see a lot of our musicians performing as soloists with the orchestra. So it's really the idea around this is you get to know our orchestra in a completely new way. And since it's going to be so close, let's embrace that. And so, kind of out of necessity, but I think in a wonderful way, the first half of today's program is a celebration of the sections of the orchestra, the four sections of the orchestra: strings, winds, brass, and percussion. And so each one of these shorter works will focus on one of those groups in the orchestra. And it also just happens to include music that's written across 400 years. So you'll really get a wide diversity of styles and textures. It really is actually a really fun kind of kaleidoscopic look, not only at instruments, but just as far as style of composition. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to open up with a piece by George Walker. It's been so much fun getting to know a lot more about George Walker this fall, and getting to know his music much better. I feel like I have so many kind of by the way connections with him, as far as the fact that, he was an alumnus from the Curtis Institute of Music, where I went to, and then he actually taught at the University of Colorado at Boulder, where I was growing up. So we're really excited to open up this program with him. One of the most important American composers of the 20th century. He was a brilliant pianist, toured all around the world as a pianist, also a great pedagogue. And he was the first African-American to win the Pulitzer Prize for music. So the piece we're going to be playing today as kind of an introduction to him for you is by far his most famous work. I mean, I think you can say it's one of the most famous American works for strings. And it's called Lyric for Strings. It's just a breathtakingly beautiful piece, a very introspective work that really embraces the entire string section, but also its ability to weave melodies in and out of the string instruments. One of the things about the string section is it's the most cohesive sound in the orchestra, just the way all the strings sound. So you have this very wide range of instruments, from the double basses to the violins, but in essence, because they're all producing sound the same way, there's a very much a cohesive sound across that range. And I think Walker does a really great job of kind of showcasing that range, but then also how these beautiful melodies can kind of weave in and out of the different instruments within the string section. So just a wonderful way to start off our program. I didn't want to go too crazy for the first piece. I really wanted us to have a moment and appreciate what we overcame to kind of get to this moment as a community. And as musicians. And so this was the piece I chose to start our program off with. Then we move on to feature our brass section in two canzoni by Giovanni Gabrieli, arranged by our principal trombonist, Bruce Crisp. So yeah, we're going back to, the 17th century here to take a look at the music of Gabrieli, who wrote for St. Mark's Cathedral in Venice. And what Gabrieli would do, which is it's just so brilliant. You think about how innovative this would be now, much less 400 years ago. But in this big cathedral, he could place musicians around it. And you can imagine how the sound would kind of bounce around between these antiphonal groups of instruments. And so it's most commonly today performed with brass instruments. And the reason why you have to have it arranged is that Gabrieli didn't actually specify which instruments need to play which parts. They really are chorales, but they're chorales where there's groups of instruments. So for the two canzoni that we're doing, it's 3 groups of 4. So we'll have 12 brass players, and we'll have them in the balconies around the stage. So it really looks beautiful. It's a great way to not only showcase our brass our brass section, but also how beautiful our hall is, and you really get those nice wide angles to appreciate this music. Then we'll move on to music by Gabriela Lina Frank, one of the most important composers working today, and one of my favorites, of course. And this is this wild Peruvian dance, Escaramuzza, that she wrote for percussion, piano, harp, and strings. And it's just a chance to watch our percussionists go crazy. I mean, there's a battery of instruments on stage. It's such a fun piece, very, very showy, and I'm so glad it worked out for us kind of placement-wise on the stage to do this piece to feature our percussion section. And then we'll continue on with a Wind Serenade by Richard Strauss that he wrote when he was only 17 years old. It's a very early work, deeply rooted in kind of the late Romantic era, taking a lot of inspiration from Johannes Brahms, for instance. But beautiful treatment of the woodwinds, just absolutely like sublime 8-minute piece. So it's always one of my favorite pieces to do whenever I have a great wind section, and this was just so much fun to work on the wind section with. And then after a short intermission, we'll come back to start our mini Beethoven cycle. We're going to be doing the first 3 Beethoven symphonies this fall. And it's not just to celebrate the Beethoven 250th anniversary, which of course has been a big deal around the globe. I actually chose this for 2 other reasons. These 3 symphonies in particular work very well for this reduced orchestra we're working with. I think there's a lot more detail that comes out. And so I wanted to present these 3 symphonies that way. But I think also Beethoven in these 3 symphonies is really stepping into the unknown as he pushes the boundaries and finds what the symphony means to him. And that's what we're doing, like as an orchestra right now. We are in uncharted territory for us, the first time in our history that we are doing work like this. And I figured as we take our steps into the unknown, why not perform some of the greatest music that was also taking these first steps? So we're going to have a great time going through these Beethoven symphonies this fall, and especially with this first symphony that's going to start us off. So that gives you a sense of where we're taking this program. As you can see, you're going to see so many different configurations on stage, and all of our instruments featured in different ways. And I wouldn't really have it any other way as we kind of present ourselves to our wider community, to the world for the first time in this way. I think it's just a wonderful way to get so much diversity on there, instrument-wise and music-wise. So I'm going to kind of start winding this up here. Once again, thank you to Jamie Haswell and Richard Grundy for sponsoring this pre-concert talk. And I wanted to give you some basic info in case you're still trying to figure out how you're going to get to all the activities we have planned today. So when this finishes, I'm going to just leave a slide up here that'll tell you to go back to the Santa Rosa Symphony YouTube channel. I think it's also being shown on our website, but what you really want to do is get it through the Santa Rosa Symphony YouTube channel. Everything happens there. Just like you're watching this on the YouTube channel, when you stop watching this, you'll see that there's already been a premiere. One of our videos is a premiere, has been uploaded with the actual concert. It says this is the concert, and it says it'll be premiering at 3 p.m. And that's the video that you're going to want to go to for the concert. And it will start playing. It'll start playing at 2:45 with some opening slides, some introductions. So please feel free to start watching early, especially if you're getting your personal setup and your home worked out so that you can have the best sound quality and the best visuals. Sign on a little early and you'll have a chance to figure that all out. So that'll be starting at 2:45 with the concert at 3 on that video. So this video is going to stay up for another few minutes after I'm finished. Then I'm going to shut this down so that you can go to the premiere video. Then after the performance, the premiere will finish. You'll see the credits will roll and the premiere will finish. Then if you go back to the Santa Rosa Symphony YouTube channel, and you might have to wait a few minutes, but I'm going to restart another live video. And you can actually see the link already now. It says post-concert Q&A, but that won't go live until after the concert has finished. So I'll be back live once again. I'm going to be with some of my wonderful colleagues who performed on this program, and we're just going to hang out. We're going to answer some questions and chat. We're just going to relax with all you. It's going to be just a kind of how we would normally do this at the Green Music Center after. I know a bunch of us usually hang out and prelude with some audience members, and usually, we grab a drink and we all just relax and have some time together. And God, I miss that. I really, really do. So at least this is some fun way that we can all spend some time together after the concert and just talk about what happened, like how this all came together. So I'll look forward to seeing you again live after this performance. But in the meantime, take some time, get yourself, some food, something good to drink, and come back to enjoy our performance. Again, starting probably a little bit before 3 o'clock, but the music itself will start at 3 for the performance. And then I will see you right back on the YouTube channel afterwards for another live video, this one a Q&A with the musicians. So I hope I explained that well. I'm just going to quickly make sure that there aren't any logistical questions here. But it looks like we're doing okay. So very, very happy. Seems like everyone knows what they need to be doing. Wonderful. I'll just answer the last question here that Jake asked. Does the SRS plan to do this for the next few months, whole season? Yes, so we actually have already new concert dates set for November and December. It's all ready. It's all in a beautiful program book. You can go on our website and see what those programs are and what's going to be happening. And very shortly thereafter, probably in the next month or so, we'll be announcing what's going to happen, January onwards. We have been getting a lot of questions on that, and we are working on that. But the idea is the reason why this moment right now is so vital is that if this goes well, and everything is coming together the way that it has been so far, this is our path forward, because it doesn't matter then. If we can have 50 audience members at some point, great. If we can have 100, great. But we don't have to sit on our hands until we can pack 1,000 people into the Green Music Center. And that's the really important thing. So our mission is to continue this as long as necessary, to keep on bringing you music until we absolutely can pack people into the hall again. We want to keep on reaching everybody that we can. I mean, it is so important right now that we have connection with each other any way possible. So definitely join us for November and December. Those dates are already out there, and you can be sure that we are going to be around delivering all the best programs and all the best music that we can, just as long as necessary, until we can all be back in one space together again. So thank you so much, everyone. I will see you from stage in a little bit, and then see you afterwards for the post-concert Q&A. See you soon.